8 teams left, 8 matches to go. One team will lift that World Cup 2018. Let's find out who. Score with MacCoffee on Zindagi TV. My name is Jamil, and we're going to be finding out who these 8 teams are onto the quarterfinals. Let's go. On today's episode, we're going to be checking out how the last 16 turned out and which 8 giants made it to the next round. 3 penalty shootouts, 2 comebacks, and loads of history made in the knockout stages so far. The World Cup 2018 in Russia has more action than expected. Katarina, I told you Russia is going to make it to the quarterfinals and win it. Power you now.
Logo.
Before we head out to the quarterfinals, let's take a look at what happened at the knockout stages. Match number 1, France 4, Argentina 3. This was one of the hottest knockout stage match with a 7-goal thriller. France led the game and turned it on its head as Messi put Argentina 2-1 up in the game. But the super bold Kylian Mbappe was simply unstoppable, scoring twice in 4 minutes to regain the lead. Pavard scored a wonder strike for France, while Aguero scored a usual last-minute goal, but it went down as a consolation. Knockout stage match number 2, Uruguay 2, Portugal 1. It was a sad end for Ronaldo despite his best performance at a World Cup, and an informed Cavani is back on the scoring sheet. The record for the oldest Portuguese to score at a World Cup was broken 3 times in Russia 2018. Ronaldo, Quaresma, and Pepe's equalizer against Uruguay. Knockout match number 3, hosts Russia 1, Spain 1. Russia win it on penalties. Russia scored both goals in the match, an early own goal and a late equalizer from the spot. The game went into penalties, the first shootout for Russia, and the hosts emerged victorious. Match number 4 was similar to that of Russia and Spain. It ended up in penalties, and the victorious ones came out to be Croatia. It ended 1-1 after extra time versus Denmark. This was the only World Cup match that was 1-1 from 4 minutes up until 120 minutes after extra time. Modric misses a penalty in extra time as Schmeichel wins the man of the match for saving that penalty. Match number 5, the South American Derby. Brazil 2, Mexico 0. The summer flare has finally clicked and Selecao are now on a confident run. Neymar's opener in the match broke a world record, with Brazil surpassing Germany with the most goals at a World Cup, previously at 227 goals. However, on the other hand, Mexico are still to score versus Brazil at a World Cup, let alone even win a match. Match number 6 in the knockout stages saw one of the biggest comebacks so far. Belgium 3, Japan 2. Japan are used to this stage as they've been knocked out 3 times before in the last 16. Nasser Chadli scored in the last 10 seconds for Belgium to march into the quarterfinals as the Red Devils book a spot. Match number 7 of the last 16, Sweden 1, Switzerland 0. This match saw a deflected shot from Emil Forsberg, and that earned Sweden a win into the quarterfinals. From qualifying by beating Italy over 2 legs and now into the quarterfinals since 1994, Sweden are scripting a great story. And the final match of the knockout stages between England and Colombia. What a match! It ended 1-1 at extra time, and England finally broke their curse to take it on penalties into the quarterfinals. Well, that's not all. On today's episode, we have a special guest that we're going to be chatting with, and he's going to give us more insight on the knockout stages as well as the quarterfinals. Grab your coffee. We're going to have a special chat with Arcadius. Come with me. And today we are joined by Arcadius on this episode to talk about a little bit about how it works for the World Cup as a photographer, filmmaker, and much more. And we're going to find out more about Arcadius. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. I'm telling you, this World Cup has turned out to be one of the most unexpected for you so far. And who is your team?
My team was bundled out. It was Germany.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
How does that feel to be a German fan and defending champion, to be thrown out of the World Cup?
It's a bit depressing because looking at the kind of players we have, the kind of quality we have, the kind of game plan, and even the coach, it's depressing. It's really depressing.
I can see it on your face.
Yeah.
You can grab some MacCoffee, by the way, and power you now as we enjoy this chat. But let's not forget that we are now into the last few stages of the World Cup. And if we take a look at the knockout stages, that's the last 16. What were the shocks? And if we take a look at some of them, for example, the first match, France-Argentina. What were your expectations for that one?
It was a mouth-watering clash, I can tell you that. It was end-to-end action. It was hard to predict the winner. But from the onset of the game, you could tell that France could have a big chance. Because Argentina don't know how to use Messi. Messi at club level is a different Messi in the country level. So if they could use the formation that Barcelona uses, they could have had a chance. But now Messi was playing alone. For the last 30 minutes, Messi was trying to pull the string alone, which is not so easy for something called a team. So I think they were punished because of that. They really relied on one person.
But now imagine they took the lead. They went on to even come from behind and go 2-1 into the game. And then all of a sudden, it just went downfall for Argentina. So what do you think was the key aspect to that change?
I think the tactic and the people who started the game. Aguero should have started that game. He's prolific, he's a finisher, he's a fighter. Instead, they went for somebody else. I can't remember who started, but I wish they would have started with Aguero. And Higuain was on the bench, yet he's somebody who does well in Juventus. I don't know why he was left out. So the tactics were the main thing that led to the downfall of Argentina.
Do you think France deserved that win, 4-3?
Yes, they deserved it.
Well, now they're going to be facing Uruguay, and we're going to be talking about that in just a bit. But another last stage 16 match that we saw, the knockout stages, was Russia and Spain. I mean, this was a no-gamer at all. Like, we knew who was going to go through, but what happened?
I think Russia, they are a compact team, and they don't give up. And despite that, they have the home advantage. So they really wanted to prove the world wrong, especially from their president. He was really passionate about the football, and they were also supported by there was a lady, Ekaterina something, I can't remember the name, but among the politicians who really support football. So they had a lot of support, home support, political support, and they really wanted to make an impact as the host team. Yeah.
Okay, World Cup winners Spain come to Moscow, Luzhniki Stadium, and they take on the hosts of the World Cup. And they go down till penalties without even scoring a single goal in the match. As Spain, you're probably asking questions.
Yes, because Spain has the best ball players, the individual ball players, and they play also as a unit. But now, the problem was now the finishing, because they could have the possession. If you look at the possession and the number of passes, they had around 1,300 passes by the end of the game, and Russia had less than 600. So you're wondering what was happening, because they control the ball, they control the pace, but on the brink, on the counters and the fouls, that's where they missed. If you look at the goal, Piqué and Juba, it was just a very simple header. But now, why do you raise your hands when you're taking a header in the penalty area? So it was like the small mistakes that they were punished for.
What about the first penalty shootout that Russia has ever been to, and even coming out victorious? Would you give credit to the goalkeeper, or was it a missed chance by both the strikers of Spain?
I think it was a chance. Penalty is a game of chance. So it just depends on your predictability and your reflexes. But I think also the strikers, if you want to take a good penalty, make sure it's hard and tough, so that the keeper doesn't stand a chance to take it out.
Well, we're going to be seeing more penalties, but there was another match that turned out to be quite a high one, as you call it, the derby between Brazil and Mexico. Was that a shocker for you, or was that an easy prediction?
Yeah, it was a shock. Okay, it was not a shocker for me, because I knew Mexico don't have a good history on a national tournament, World Cup matches history. The history with Brazil is not so good. So there was a bit of pride and bragging rights to maintain for Brazil. So it wasn't that easy to beat their South American counterparts on a neutral ground. But at home ground in South America, Mexico are good. Yeah.
Well, I hope they get a chance to play again after this Russia World Cup and try and get that win from Brazil. Another hot match that we saw was the Belgian and Japan match. Why don't you walk us through that one? Because you seem to have missed a bit of it, but at the end of the day, you were shocked.
Yeah, I watched up to halftime, and I was surprised that this game was hard nut to crack. It was end-to-end action. Both keepers did well. I can't remember, this Japanese keeper was really doing great saves. But now the problem was I didn't finish the game. But when I woke up, I was surprised what happened in the second half. So I don't know what happened, but it was interesting. I wish I would watch the highlights again.
So Japan were leading 2-0, as you know, and that's when you went to sleep. And when you wake up, you see there's a crazy header from Vermeulen, there's a crazy header from Fellaini, and then Chadli finishes off the game, and 3-2 Belgium are into the quarterfinals in the last 10 seconds of the game. Belgium on paper, one of the best teams in the World Cup so far. But how far do you think they're going to get to?
I think they're going to the semis, but now that's where the real challenge starts. As Hazard said, they want to make an impact, because in Europe they are ranked, I think, 3rd or 2nd after Portugal. I think they're going far because they play as a unit. They don't rely on one person. Yeah.
Well, there was one more match that was really shocking, and that's England versus Colombia that we witnessed, and that also went down to the wire. For you, do you think that was a fair score at 90 minutes?
I think England were carried on. They were carried, not really. England had a lot of chances, but they didn't take them. And they don't deserve the win. That's what I can say, because Colombia dominated the pace, the midfield. The midfield of England was whack. It didn't have enough passes, it didn't clear, it didn't intercept, it didn't create opportunities and chances. So I don't think they deserve it. It's just a penalty, a good luck penalty. Yeah.
Well, the last time Colombia had a similar name that was famous, Pablo Escobar, James Rodriguez, and now it's Yerry Mina from Colombia. What about this man? Do you think it's his attitude towards the game, or was it his team spirit?
I think he's a go-getter, and he dies for the team. He's a team player as much as his individual talent stood up. For the last 3 games, he's the one who's been scoring the late equalizers and winners. So I think he's going to get a good club if he's not in one, but he's a great player to watch for.
This is Score with me, Jamil Alibhai, and I'm in conversation with Arcadius right now, and we're going to be looking at what's going to go down in the quarterfinals of the World Cup 2018. We're in Russia, and okay, we've seen the teams that are there. They're big names, they're unexpected names.
Yeah.
But let's take a look, and I want to know from you your prediction. We start off with a big one, and that is going to be Uruguay and France first in the quarterfinals. Well, what do you think is going to come along in this match?
I think this one is going to be a draw for the 90 minutes. Then they might go to extra time, and then penalties. And penalties, I think Uruguay might win.
Wow, that's a huge call, by the way. What do you think the tactics are going to be played out for this match?
I think France are going to be attacking, maybe 4-3-3, just the Deschamps kind of formation, with 3 pacey attackers and 1 holding midfielder and roaming central midfielders. Uruguay are going to use 4-2-3-1, the one they've been using all the time, except for the last game. So Suarez and Cavani will be playing on a wide role because he's good at crossing than finishing. So it's going to be a very mouth-watering clash because there are 2 different formations that are good and that are synonymous with each of the countries.
So you feel it's going to go down as a draw?
Yes.
Penalties to decide.
Penalty to decide.
All right, and we have the second match, and that's going to be a massive one actually. Brazil versus Belgium. We've got the Samba boys from the South American side and the European giants, Belgium. Yeah. Who do you think is going to take this one?
I think Brazil are going to take this.
Wow.
I simply because Belgium have one weakness in the defense, because they have let in a lot of goals, and this is one. They are still new entrants in the semi-final. The semi-finals is still a virgin territory for them. They haven't been to the semi-finals, and Brazil they are really trying to get back to where they were, because in the last World Cup they were humiliated. So I think this is Brazil are going to really give their all.
Do you think Brazil can face another humiliation like the one that they saw?
Yeah, they can't allow that.
As a Germany fan, were you happy for that humiliation that we saw in Brazil?
Of course, yes, I was very happy. In fact, I was surprised. This goal keep on going in 7. I was like, Can it just go on like 8 so that it becomes more humiliating? Because these guys, like, they are the England of South America. They really like to brag a lot. So that time I was like, in your face.
And who do you think is going to be on the score sheet for this one?
For Brazil, Coutinho and probably Paulinho.
No goals for Belgium?
No goal for Belgium.
All right, so we'll leave it at that one. We have another quarterfinal that's between Sweden and England.
This is more of a derby. It's like a derby, but not really. But I think Sweden are going to carry the day.
Against England?
Yes, because England have loopholes in the midfield. and they don't have a particular game plan. They are just running all over.
So who would you say England is going to be concentrating more of their focus towards? Which players are they going to stand out?
England, I'm thinking of Harry Kane and John Stones and Harry Maguire. These guys are the guys who are playing like for the team, for the club. They have the passion, they have the interest. These other people like Sterling, Lingard, they're not playing with that intent to win. They are playing just for the purpose of playing. But if you look at the intent, like in England, Harry Kane was fouled the most because he was really on the nerves of the Colombians. So I think this guy, that's Sweden are going to mark this guy. So he won't be able to do a lot of stuff.
Well, who do you think is going to stand out for the Sweden side? Because Emil Forsberg was lost until the knockout stages, and now he's finally come to score.
I think even the Larsson will also. He's an influential part of the team.
Do you think we'll see Zlatan on the bench, on the stands over there? Making some noise like Diego Maradona has been very, very outrageous with his gestures and he's screaming for Argentina. But do you think Zlatan will be on the stands for his team?
Maybe he might be watching it because Zlatan is. Let me tell you something about Zlatan. Zlatan, at one time in the LA Galaxy, in the dressing room, he asked people, "Do you believe in God?" And they said yes. Then he said, "Thank you for believing in me." Oh. So this guy is so full of himself. I don't think he will show up because they didn't even take him to the they didn't even call him up for the national duty.
Imagine.
So he's going to snub this guy. It's like he doesn't care because the newspapers are all talking about without Zlatan we did it. So he's going to rub it in the face. Even if they quit, they are eliminated. It's his joy.
In 2019, we're going to see Zlatan Ibrahimovic World Cup because he is going to create his own tournament and he's going to have his own participants in it because that's his style. Well, let's quickly go last down to the next quarterfinal, which is the hosts Russia have reached so far versus Croatia, who have been on fire this World Cup.
I think that's it's also another tactical game to watch. It's going to be they are going to approach the game cautiously because Croatia play as a unit. They are very tactical. They are they have good ball players in the midfield, Rakitic, Modric, and their strikers, Mandzukic. They have that cohesion. As well as Russia, the attackers are the ones that do a lot of work. From Golovin to Robinin to Smolov, they have good cohesion together. But this is going to be a very tactical game. So very few goals. I think there are going to be very few goals, like maybe 1-1, 2-1. It's going to be a very tight game.
All right. Let's quickly look at your predictions so far for the quarterfinals as we tell our viewers what we are going to expect from Ake. Okay, so we have the first match, which is Uruguay-France. Your prediction for that one?
1-1.
1-1. And penalties?
Uruguay.
Uruguay to take the penalties. All right. Brazil-Belgium?
2-0.
2-0 to Brazil.
Yes.
All right, let's Selecao, be ready for that prediction. Match number 3, Sweden versus England.
2-1 Sweden.
2-1 to Sweden. All right, okay. And finally, the tactical one, experience versus skill. We have Russia versus Croatia.
Definitely they're going to both score, maybe. So I think 2-1 or 3-2. 2-1 or to Croatia.
To Croatia.
Yes.
So the hosts look to exit the World Cup in the quarterfinals. Well, you can comment below your predictions for these quarterfinal matches and tell us what you think is going to go down at the World Cup quarterfinals 2018. You can share your comments below. You can also challenge Ake to your predictions, and if you do get them right, you stand a chance to win MacCoffee hampers. Power your now. Well, that was loads and loads of fun, but we're going to be catching you next time at the semi-final stage. You don't go anywhere. That was a great chat with you, Mr. K.
Thank you.
For you, who's going to win the World Cup really quickly?
Brazil.
Brazil? Well, I wish you the best of luck. Until then, keep it to the score with MacCoffee on Zindagi TV. My name is Jamil Alibhai. Keep it right here locked. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Hey there. If your African team did not make it through to the World Cup, don't worry. If your team didn't make it to the quarterfinals, it's all right. Well, we've got Lacoste that will suit you all day, every day. Check out this new long sleeve polo from Lacoste. If you want to get in touch with all the World Cup fever, how about you go onto your Facebook, on your Twitter, as well as on your Instagram at MacCoffee Kenya, and you can get a chance to win great prizes and hampers courtesy of MacCoffee. Power your now. Like, share, subscribe.